Okay, there it goes. Let's see. Okay, there it goes. I couldn't see your face because I got the other screens up and I just saw you make a funny face. Okay, hang on. Here we go. Make a funny face. All right. I got YouTube and Facebook up. And okay. Let's just listen to this sweet music for a minute.
Yeah, let's just chill, man. Let's just get in the moment.
Yeah. They have no idea what just happened for the last 10 minutes. It's about to be 1:11 in the Central Time Zone here in Houston.
11 here.
We're actually starting at 1:10 on 10:10 and it just turned 1:11. Powerful stuff going on. Kimberly.
Mr. Todd.
Mr. Todd. I just realized how often you call me that. I never thought about it.
Just came up. I don't know why I call you that.
I pulled up that song that I wrote about Franco. I thought I would like read it, but I'll do it with the music.
Okay.
Or whenever.
Whenever you want.
Hey, it's not me. I'm just the conduit. Somebody else is here. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and he's a little jokester.
He sure is.
He's a little jokester. We were all nervous, and we met early, and we were like both really nervous, and they were like, okay, let's go. And as soon as we clicked on, it all went crazy, like in so many ways. And he just kept extending it and extending it until, well, I dropped an F-bomb. as the deepest term of endearment. That's between us, everybody. Wow, what a powerful time and to get together on 10:10 with Kimberly. I know I'm going to cry. I should have got some Kleenex.
I brought mine just in case.
You're smart. I'll have to get up in a minute. I just have to be careful because then everybody will know I sleep. I mean, I
Are you in your underwear, Todd?
Well, it worked. He got us laughing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you came out.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy it's here with you. And you're the guy that's, hosting this coming out party for me.
Well, we put it as conversation with Kimberly. It's not a Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with Kimberly. But I guess you said that to me like 3 times now. That you feel like it's a coming out party?
Yeah. Well, because I've been pretty quiet the last couple of years for good reason. Had to do some inward journeying. It's been quite the challenge for the last couple of years. Well, I wouldn't say it's all been. There's been good, and there's been lots of crying, though. Lots of crying. So it was quite a process. I do want to say thank you to everybody while I'm here, to all the community that has supported me and Franco, but especially me in the last couple of years. It's been so helpful. I don't know how I would have gone through it without the community support and the love in the background. You can feel it there all the time. And then when I was coming out onto the show today, I received so many nice messages from people just encouraging me and giving me that support again. And the gratitude for all the love that's out there, helping each of other, move through their difficult times. May not be something difficult for one person, but for others it is. And honestly, I just am so grateful for the community that we have. Your Sology community, the community Franco and I have. It's been very nice. So back to my little journey. No one's really heard from me much besides the Let's Talk About You group since Franco's physical departure. I call it that because I know he's still hanging about all over the place, and I hear it from so many people that they've spoken to him, seen him, had messages from him, myself included, and I know you have too, Todd. So it was that first year of his physical leaving was quite a I've never experienced that kind of grief before in my life. It was very tough. I didn't know how I was going to make it through. I had beautiful friends that helped me along the way and family, but it's just adjusting to that physical presence not being there. And it was hard. And plus I had to move from our house, so that was difficult. And I had to pack up all our stuff, and I had to get rid of some of Franco's stuff because he had a lot of stuff, and everything sitting in a storage unit. So I have not been connected to our things for 2 years, which I think made it difficult as well. So I was put into a space. And I mean, I see the wisdom of it all at this point, but so I was put into a space on my own, not on my own, but it is a singular journey, as we all know. We all have our things to move through. So the grieving process was an interesting process because as I was going through it, I could see where my programs were coming in around making it worse than it needed to be. And I have one specific time when I was sitting by myself, and I was overcome in such a big way, and the crying and the grief that was coming, and my human was going through all this processing, but there was this other aspect of me, the higher aspect of me was watching it, and it was going, this is pretty intense, isn't it? And I'm going, yeah. Then I realized I just had to witness it. I just had to sit there and go through it and just allow it to be there and just let it out. But I also feel there was other frequencies involved that seemed to be expanding it or making it worse than it seemed, which I've seen through the last year, and I attribute it to programs, I guess, emotions, negative influences that can come in when you are in that kind of state of sadness and grief. And so I felt like I had to work extra hard to hold the space for myself and to move out of it. It really has been one of the most daunting things I've ever had to move through. So that was the first year. I mean, there was good stuff going on in there too, I'm sure, but there was just lots of moving through the loss of the physical Franco, and learning how to live without him beside me. And this past year, it's been about looking at all my insecurities about living without Franco. So it's been also equally has been I don't know how to put words to it, but it was equally hard. And I've cried a lot. Lots of times I didn't want to be on the planet. Thought, okay, I'm done with this place. But I also realized there's a reason for it all to come together this way. And I've done a ton of journaling and processing, and a lot of time to myself. And that's what supports me the most, being alone. Go to the forest. I go to the woods a lot, and it also supports me. But it's an interesting thing when you lose someone like that you have such a powerful connection to, that it isn't just about losing them. It's about now what you have to look at in yourself, all the insecurities that come up around not having that person beside you that catches your falls, and it's just there. And so now it's like a bare naked truth coming through. It's like, oh shit, do I want to look at this? Is hard to look at. This is hard to admit. This is hard to how am I going to move through this? How am I going to find that strength that I know I do possess, because I've been in other situations where my strength has moved me through it in ways that maybe someone else wouldn't have been able to move through it. I don't know. But it is definitely a humbling experience. So here comes the Kleenex. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know what more to say about it. It's just that I see my own. I've been processing a lot of my own insecurities about taking care of myself, about self-doubt, about my abilities to support myself the way I want to be supported. I think that's a big thing right now, because our world's just so crazy at the moment, and things are shifting in ways, in such big ways, that there's so much up in the air around how to move forward in this world in integrity, but still be able to eat and have a place to live and all that stuff. And so a lot of what I'm going through this last while, especially this year, has been about that. And yeah, I'm not quite done, but I'm working on it. It's this stepping out into doing this live show with you was a big thing for me, because I'm not used to speaking publicly. And it was always a fear of mine as a young person. I mean, that would make me sick, and I mean, I would just fall apart. So far, so good. Yeah, I feel it's an important thing that I have to do, though. I have things to say, I guess, and I like writing, and it's just finding how to fit into the world as it is shifting, the way it's shifting, and staying in alignment with where we want to go, because there is so much going on.
Well, God, that was a hell of an intro.
Oh,
Well, because it was, I mean, I was just thinking, because we've talked, we've gone a couple of months without talking, with all this stuff going on, but we probably talked, I don't know,
pretty
50,
frequently.
50 to 100 times in 2 years, I would think, and what you just said, like, encapsulated everything, and it was said in such a fluid way, like it was just like pure code speaking. Like even all the talks that we've had through it all, through the cussing and the crying and the laughing, I've not heard you say it like that. It's pretty impactful.
Well, we're going through very impactful times, all of us. I'm going through it this way, and I'm sure many people are going through it in their own ways, that you think you're going crazy, you think you can't do it, and and you always, I know I'm questioning, why is this going to happen? But when I tune into the depths of me, I feel that the world's a good place and there's good things happening, and I don't really pay a lot of attention to what that other stuff going on. Not that I'm not aware of it, but I can't put my attention there because I'm in a state of, for me, still fragile in a way of holding a certain space for myself, so I can move out of some of the things I've been depressed, and in ways I've never been before. Like, I've never felt hopeless like I have in the last 2 years.
That's
Years.
deep. That's deep. Well, the word hopeless is deep, deep. And I think, like, you went to the deepest, and I think some of us can relate to that, not so much as having been there, but having been there in the last couple of years, where
It's
everything is potentially removed, that all you have is yourself. And in some weird way, everybody else is there too, but you gotta be in that space of it's you.
exactly, yeah.
And you're right, it's still a work in process.
Always will be.
I think so.
It's like you get thrown into the deep end of the pool, and I see the beauty of the events. I mean, Franco came here, he had so much love and so much to give, which he did. He always felt he wasn't giving enough, believe it or not, but that's
I
the way
believe
we
it.
operate as programmed humans. We never think, that we are doing enough or capable enough or whatever. And he went so long because our journey together, a good part of it, he wasn't well for. So there was a lot of stress in just his health issues that he hid from people for a very long time. Because I know in his human mind mistook it as him being not he used to use the word fraud. How come I can't heal myself, but I can have all these conversations? But I think sometimes he still had his programs and he didn't always see them. But he had this beautiful big soul that came in and had all this beautiful information. And I often said to Franco, I said, honey, we do an advancing consciousness. I said, I really think your soul was talking to you today. You should listen to that, because he has to go back and listen to it so that he could hear it in a different way, right?
Right.
Just
As a
talking
human,
as a
as a
human,
as a human.
exactly, as a human. And so there was a lot of stress. So again, that too is something that is still coming out of my body. I didn't realize just how anxious and stressed my whole physicality was. So that's easing out slowly but surely. I think when you're in that kind of emotional state, you learn to live with it in a way that you don't think it's there anymore, that you're fine and you can manage anything. But the body is another story. It has its own ways of operating, and if there's stress going on, it's going to hold it a certain way, and then you're going to become aware of it in at some point in time in your life, so that you take a look at that as well. So there's so many layers. It feels like there's so many layers of understanding and processing some that I don't know that I'm. It's like I feel that there's stuff going on that I can't put words to or understand on a human level, but it feels like there's lots going on. And yeah, it's a crazy little ride we're on.
Yeah, I'll say. But somehow or another, it's fantastic and magnificent. And
Mhm,
it's
it is.
just weird. It's something that when we get on the other side, or the other sides, I should say, because the day it keeps going, we know we're going to even see it more clearly, the depth of it. And yeah, I just wanted to go back to Franco for a minute, because I don't think everybody knows the degree, and I'm not saying this for purposes of pity, but for purposes of contrast, of this incredible soul and incredible human being who said, who had to listen to his own words of his soul as a human and said, I can't even heal myself, I'm a fraud. But you can clearly see the beauty of the imbalance, because all of his energy was up here giving. And in the moment that you said that, I just realized something that I'm come to terms with. So it's not that he couldn't heal himself. It's that he, as a human, as I stand before you today, and I feel like I just got this from him too, and you, us, is this thing that's a challenge that you saw him go through, which is all, there's a lot coming at him, and he wants to touch everybody. He wants to give everyone the respect of an answer, and it becomes overwhelming. And I've been like physically struggling since I came back from Sedona, and even before, because it's so much. And I realize now that it's a thing about balance.
Mhm.
But if I'm going to go out and I can't get it in perfect balance, I'll go out like he did. And I think the other thing I just want to remind people of is, again, for contrast, is we're talking about a human body that had 4 organs that were like below 25%. Like they
Yeah,
were
he
not,
was always operating under
yeah,
par, like he was
right.
never fully operating. Yeah.
And
His
his heart, I believe it was 3 years prior, he had gone to the heart doctor for the last time, something to that effect, 3, 4, I don't remember. And the guy said, you shouldn't even be walking. So if it, first of all, in terms of self-healing, that's self-healing.
Mhm.
Keeping that body going for 5 years or whatever, that's self-healing. It just looks different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because first of all, in gratitude for because I know he's here because of the games he played with us as we try to get on, and we've had enough interaction. We were talking one time and he appeared like with me, like as a big giant thing. He wasn't little, he was big. But and then the other thing is, so it's not like we have to explain Franco and Kimberly's contribution. And obviously he's with us. But when you understand the degree of, effort and energy that he put out and was able to keep it going and sustain it in miraculous conditions, it puts everything even in a higher light. Yeah. And you are him. He is you. I mean, you're the other side of it. And, you have a
Well,
lot to,
we had a balancing between us, I feel. Um, he was so dedicated to just putting information out there for people. It was his first, I'm going to say it's his first love. I came second to that. And that was fine. I knew that at the beginning. But he brought such a beautiful love into my life that I've never experienced before. And the level of comfort we had with each other, never experienced it before in my life. And same for him. Like, it's like he needed the love that kind of grounded him to the planet a bit more, which he fought a bit at the beginning. But
Well, we all know. For those of you who don't know, this is he dropped in many times over the thousands of years, but he only came in once for a full embodiment, and that was in this incarnation.
yeah, so I think it was hard. I saw him struggle with the human part of himself, with embodying that way and paying attention to his body the way he needed to, because he was so focused on the soul work and the soul stuff. So he was always there more than he was in his body doing. I don't know how to put it. There needed to be more of a balance, but anyways, but we came together like and balanced one another out in many ways. And I see the perfection. He came, he did what he could do and had to do. And I feel he did a lot, and he covered a lot of information, and we have that whole beautiful resource of information from Franco that will be timeless. And the body just couldn't stay any longer. The body had to leave. And I see the perfection in that, for not watching him be in pain anymore and go through the things he went through just to stay alive. So that was a blessing. And then the blessing was he's still here, and I still get messages from him, because I keep hearing that message from him. I'm still here. I haven't left. And then for me on my own personal journey with Franco's departure, it has moved me into a different position of where I need to step up for myself in a whole new way. But I got all the beautiful exchange that Franco and I had that has helped me be able to navigate that way better now than if I'd never met Franco. So lots of great exchange, and for higher purposes. It's not like we'll ever never see him again. I feel I see him often in my heart, in my journaling. And when I leave this planet one day, I'm sure I will connect with him on that level. So
maybe beforehand.
Perhaps, you never know. I don't leave anything out, so I'm open. But
he's gonna drop into a body like Jason Momoa or whatever his name is.
yeah, that would be fun.
Oh, it's good to laugh.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been done a lot of that. So my serious part of me, I've been so serious. I feel like I've been so serious. When I first met Franco, I was a little more jovial and light-hearted in humor and such. And as the years progressed, and you know, dealing with Franco's not wellness, his illness, I think he and I both got a bit serious about the human life that we're living. And it was difficult to move out of that space, because it seemed so, well, it was right in our face, you know. So I feel that I need to move back into that space of lightness. But I guess when you're clearing a lot of old stuff, you have to just let it come through and know that you'll be lighter eventually. Eventually you're gonna get there. You can't be too hard on yourself, and letting go of all the self-judgment. I've had a lot of that. a lot of awareness around just how much I did have.
Right.
So that was like, there's just lots of eye-opening stuff.
Yeah, that's the gold of the gold is a self-judgment, because if you're not judging yourself, you're not awake. And if you think you got through judging yourself, you keep on looking about everything that looking at everything that you think, particularly like of others or other things, person, places, things. But yeah, I feel like that's been front and center. For me, I know personally, since I came back from Sedona after seeing y'all, it was like the first thing I did. I started juicing, and everything that was coming up, it was the first, what would I say? I would say to myself verbally, because I live by myself, I would say no self-judgment. And then I would, just keep doing that exercise. But it really ramped up this year. And
Sure did.
Wow. Yeah, in talking to you and then like listening to what you're saying, I think, people, I mean, obviously, and let me just say too, that I think it's remarkable that you went into the connection, into the relationship. And I know the story. A lot of people know the story. You gave details of it on Soul Speaks 5D when y'all came on together. Very cute. But you knew that you said first love, his first love was to serve humanity. And that you were totally cool with that. Like, it was like you brought like the Trinity energy into it, because truly it wasn't his first love, but he was coming out of that. He was weaving us out of that. That's interesting, because you can see that's where his, overgiving. But anyway, that's just a beautiful thing to go into it. Like, that's pure love. And he always said to me that you were an archangelic soul, and I can see that that's the kind of love that it would take to enter that situation. But anyway, I forgot the other thing.
It's okay, Todd.
It'll come back.
We'll come back. Yeah, the love that I experienced with Franco was, I mean, I knew I had a lot of love to give. I always have been a loving person. I used to say to my mom after I separated from my husband, and I knew I would just wait until someone showed up. I wasn't going to go looking for it, but I said, poor pity the guy that I connect with, because he's going to get slammed with so much love. Hope he can manage it. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was him again. I heard what you said.
Yeah. So, and he had so much love. Like I
Oh
told
my
you
God,
recently, I mean, that first time I met him in person and I opened the door and I looked in his eyes, I thought, holy shit, that guy has a lot of love in him. That was before.
Okay, if you have any children around, you might want to put them away at this time. No, I'm kidding. Oh my God, this is getting crazy. But okay. What I had forgotten was, oh my God, I can't stop laughing. What was it? You had said this to me, and you were just kind of getting into it. I can't look at you.
Okay.
But that people, like, obviously very unique, right? Energy or soul or person, all the above. But you had said, like, in private, or like, people, the human Franco, there was the human Franco, and I don't know. It's like I got to know the human Franco, not like you, but I really got to know him. I really became like this brother with him. Like, it was just organic. It was something, you know what I mean? And I realized that we both kind of dropped walls down and connected. And I think that's what we're doing. And it's scary as, F.
Mhm.
But that you would say people didn't know the human Franco, and it just makes what he did, what y'all done, what you are, the two of you together as one, just makes it that much more powerful. Like, it's just like, whoa, he went through all that stuff too that we went through. Hell, he went through it worse.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing, eh? He went through so much. He had his fair share of programs just like everybody else. Like, he was not immune to that. He was just as human as you and I. I mean, he had a pretty huge soul, but I could see where the trauma that he experienced as a small child and from the family that wasn't perfect by any stretch. I mean, he had abuse. Like, he just had a lot of trauma as a child, and was loaded on with a ton of responsibility as a very young person. So when I met Franco, I saw that little boy in him, the sad little boy. And now, and I didn't understand all that when I first met him. I mean, because I came from a very positive, always be happy kind of people. Like, my parents is like, think positive and all will be well. But it was over time I realized that's really not a good um way to go about it. You have to let that shit come up so you can get it, look at it. So I didn't know. I don't know. I feel people. I've always been able to feel people. And so when I met Franco, I saw his greatness and the great love that he carried with him, but also saw the boy that was hurt and had been hurt by many people, because most people didn't understand him as a as the combination of the both together, as the human with this big soul that could see things and say things. And so he was always misunderstood, and it must have been painful for him as a kid to be rejected by lots of people, including some of his family. So I think too, when I came into his life, besides his children, was probably one of the first people that truly accepted him, all of it, both sides. The Franco, the human with all his warts, and Franco, the soul of Franco. And he was just such a beautiful person. Like, he just, yeah, yeah, he's just a beautiful person.
And
Okay.
then to well, I was thinking about, because when y'all came to Sedona, the first night we stayed 2 nights in the condo. I was there 2 nights in the condo with you, and the first night, no camera, and me and you sat down with him, remember?
Mhm.
And I said, I'm going to ask you things that and we just had this conversation, and part of what came out, so much came out, and some of it he shared on the conversation we had on the couch the next day, which is out there, which is like some really fascinating stuff, like, inventing a hydrogen motor and 17 years old, and having a contract with the Department of Defense as a Canadian 18-year-old, and that kind of stuff. But on what, in regard to what you're talking about, this is a person who had memories from the womb. This is a person who got a huge download, if I remember correctly, at 4 years old. Like, we're talking, add all the downloads you've had up until this point, he got them all at 4 years old. And then having to be a human being. Candace Coe, who's, connected to Franco and to this, I just know because of, over time, we touch base every few months. And she's talking about Franco, and she said, to write the program, which he did, he was part of that, and then have to come down and experience the thickest of it.
Mm-hmm.
She put
For
to that degree, like that's called walking the talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting too, because if you look at if I think about it, I've never seen him as weak, not physically, mentally, I don't have the same experience you have. And the one time I did see him, he had some kind of rejuvenation when he came to Sedona.
He did.
He was just like outrunning everybody. But anyway, but if you look at it now as we're talking, and he was the writer of the program and came down to experience it in the thickest of things to that degree, and you look at the power, the walk the talk that took, he wasn't 5'6", 104. Yeah, he wasn't he's huge like that. Like when he came in when we were talking a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
he looked like the Michelin Man. He looked like the what is it, the thing, Ghostbusters, the big puffy guy.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
was that big, and he was puffy. Anyway,
Yeah, for sure. He's a big soul. He always was. I mean, you could feel that about him. I think that's why the love came through so easily. I mean, I've never seen that in a human's eyes before. That kind of love come through. It was like it blew me away. So I knew he was big, big soul. So yeah, he's
that's something that you probably could see that really no one else could. I
I
mean,
don't know.
we
I
could all
don't know.
see it, but I mean,
Mhm,
like the connection you have, like you were telling your mom,
mhm.
and it's kind of like, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember asking for that a lot.
But it was a mirror reflection. That's what I mean.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Like, because just the way you talk about them, like, you're right. And you really could be talking about any of us, because his soul is so big that even in a seemingly human frailty, it still has total command. Like,
Exactly.
if you're not looking at it from strictly where we're standing.
And I think it's what I'd like people to understand too is that um we all have that, like you said. Franco was the same as all of us. He had
Yeah.
a big soul. He came here with a message. We all have big souls and messages, and we came here to do something, whether it's just to hold the space or hold the frequency and do whatever. We're all here changing the world in our own ways. Some appears to be in a bigger, grander scale, but every one of us, like I seeing more how all the weaving together of all the interactions, all the connections with people. And it's like we're all like right now, it's like we're wiggling around and trying to find the right space to be in with the, like that you resonate with. Like we talked about that too, you and I. So many things are changing, relationships are changing, where we live, the environments we want to be in, all that stuff. And it's like on a big scale, it feels like I don't know. I have a picture of it in my mind, and it's hard to express it in words, but it's like we're running around like little dots of light trying to put the puzzle together in the best possible way for all of us. And so when we all get together and connect as a community, there's a piece that's really big, and then it gets really bright, and it goes out there, and then another community comes to there and connects with this community, and then it same, and all of a sudden next thing you know, it's just going to be one big bright beautiful picture. So that's what it feels like. And although sometimes there's a lot of work in that, and we have to let go of a lot. And it's like, okay, I'm letting go. I'm letting go of this part of me. And there's been a lot of grief along that. That's been another piece of grief for me, is letting go of the old me, because we're quite attached to it, I found out.
Like a kid throwing the tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. I was in the woods walking today and I thought that's exactly what it's like. I was thinking that it gets loud, it screams, it throws a fit. I don't want to go, but yeah, you got to go. But then sometimes when it's screaming so loud, it's really hard to hear that the parent side of you, the higher aspect of yourself. But so as we're releasing all these things, it's um then I'm going, okay, well, what am I going to be like? How am I going to be when all that's gone? Like, I mean, I know from one, what I think, but there's definitely fear or anxiety around just completely dropping it all. So I guess that's why we have to do it in layers. And so I've been peeling lots of layers.
Now you're speaking gold code.
Mm,
Does it feel like 2 years?
no, it doesn't. When I think that in today's the 10th, in 10 days, it'll be Franco's 2-year anniversary of his departure. And it doesn't feel like 2 years. But then again, it feels like lifetimes have gone by and so much has changed. Like it's a really weird thing, the time and how we're perceiving it. And all the information, all the stuff that we are going through and how much of it we're going through in short periods of time. And yet it seems like, so I mean, I'll be talking to you today, and then tomorrow I'll think, oh, I talked to Todd last week.
Mhm.
So it's like there's so much I don't know if you want to call it distortion, but it's just like it's like I think it's everything. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like two parallels.
Mhm.
Um, because if I think about it, I just that question came to my mind. Does it feel like 2 years? I'm really kind of asking you and asking myself. And then I listen to you, and to me, and seriously, it it feels like 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And but what you're saying about all that information, all that's come in, you almost have to look at it like it's been 2 years.
Mhm.
And even then, that's a huge amount of change and stuff that's happened. But that's kind of what it feels like to me. Maybe they're being squeezed together or something. And then you're
Mhm.
right. I get up tomorrow and say, "God, I haven't talked to Kimberly in a month." You're like, so the memory's doing weird stuff too.
Definitely. Yeah, we're just going through so much and trying to figure out how do we bring that new us into this world and operate. For me, it's operating in this world in integrity the way I want to, while also bringing all the stuff I've learned about who I am on that higher aspect of who I am and operating from there in order to support myself. And that's also been a challenge because I get scared. And I think, okay, is it possible yet? Can we do it that way? Um, I would like to think we can, but can we? So, but then we all have to take steps in our own way to make that happen because we're the ones that are changing the world. It's all us, we're the ones creating it. So it's finding creative ways that we can operate that is in alignment with how we see ourselves evolving, even if we're not fully there yet. Not that we ever are actually, but you know, but yeah. Can't hear you, Todd.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I was moving around in my chair. Candace said she feels like a female version of him. Is it just me? And I'm like, no. And I'm looking at you, and it is. I can see it, except for what you were just speaking about, how you were speaking about it, the way you were saying it as the feminine part of it. right? Like the reality of it. It's more than okay of it, but hey, we're still going here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but
You mean like living in this reality, like we're operating in our realities, not little, they're big realities, really. Um, is this what you mean? Like, how can we bring that in
well,
and
well,
be?
yeah. I mean, okay, that's what you're bringing in, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
And I
okay.
feel like what's happening is, mm, at least some people are on the front edge of things. They're like showing you things. So they're like reflecting to you what's possible, or what it looks like, or you're being witness to it. And what I see is like Franco was as we knew him as Franco, in taking in everything that you just said. There was definitely masculine,
Mhm.
and there was feminine, but there was more masculine, right? And like the way you're speaking, it's like two voices in one. It's like his and yours at the same time. I guess that's what I'm saying. And that speaks to, you know, I guess embodied sacred union within yourself. But I feel like that's what I'm picking up on it. I mean, that's, and looking at Candace's words.
Yeah, I can see how that could happen. And we've had such a good connection, and we both learned so much. And of course, you integrate all that together, then you don't realize just how much you are a part of each other after a time. It's like, because it happens so organically, it just comes together. And like we were definitely meant to come together. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
I know that. And what you went to him for a session,
I
and
did.
then you were leaving, and he followed you out to the parking lot or something
No,
like
he
that.
did not. His soul told him to. And
Oh,
he said,
his
"Oh," and he said, "What? Why would I do that? Oh, blah blah blah." And so he got lots of resistance from his
uh,
human. And then he sent me an email the next morning, which I knew he was going to do. I didn't know why I knew that, but I did. And then so I wasn't surprised when I saw it. And then from there it was just like we just talked and talked. And then for a week on by email, and then by phone for a whole month every night for 2 hours anyways. And it was just,
I guess this human got the message real quick.
yeah, it did. But yeah, it was a whirlwind of experiences with him, and lots of learning for sure. Because he was so calm. If I had a meltdown or I was pissy about something, he would just come in and calm me, say, "Okay, let's look at this." I only saw him actually get mad, really mad. It wasn't at me. He was just mad at a situation once the whole time
Really,
we were together, where
just
he,
one time.
well,
That is,
I've seen him be hurt, and I've
yeah,
seen his feelings be hurt, and
yeah.
I've seen disappointment, but I never seen anger come up.
Wow.
And the one time that it did come up, it was like, all right, that's awesome. I'm so glad to see you angry like that, because he would hold it in, right? So, because he never cried either. I never saw him cry ever. That was my goal as a couple together. My goal was to make him cry, not in a bad way, but didn't happen. But because I think as a kid too, he had to really rein in his emotions, or he would get in trouble, or he would get hit, or whatever. So he just was used to
Yeah,
not expressing them in that way. So when he
right. Yeah, I remember one of the reasons for that was that because he knew what he knew after 4 years old. He was telling
oh
me,
yeah.
like, he went to church, and he's like, or maybe it was church class or something. He's like, no, that's not the way it happened.
Yeah, he had a lot of
And then the
information.
the other thing is, as I got to know him for those I think it was like 3 years, but doing all those shows, 52 shows together, and then also private conversations. There was a point, and he actually did this on Soul Speaks. He came on, and it was, I don't know when this would have been, you know, a few months before. And he said he was so excited because he said, I found a split that I didn't know was there. That when I was at that time that you're talking about, so I was like 6 years old, 8 years old or something, he made a choice, and he put a mask on. He told us this. He shared it with everybody, which was brilliant. That he put a mask on, one for his parents and people, and then he had his real mask or his real face. And he had just in that moment, which is really extraordinary because we're talking about a super high frequency embodied multidimensional. And what I mean by that is the multidimensionality came through in his physicality, and you know this. We can talk about that a little bit, but he said that. He said, I just found it. You know, I found out this mask I put up so I wouldn't get in trouble. And that was really big. So to see something like that months before he transitions, that was, you know, in my opinion, somebody breaking down an energetic door so we could do it too. That's, you know, that's work. That's love.
Yeah.
So I don't think people also, they, like you said, they didn't really know the human Franco, but also they didn't really you know, they didn't really know the extent of his multidimensionality and the physicality. Like the time you talked about sitting on his lap, or the time he was in the other room and he started shape shifting into a, yeah.
I never saw him shape shift it like that, but for sure there was other beings there, because that was because he had the love eyes. Those were, I felt, were his soul eyes. And then there was the eyes of almost, I say, his alien eyes, because they would look at me and they would be very observant. They're just observing. There was no emotional attachment or anything. Like I didn't feel any attachment. Like, you know, when you look in someone's eyes, you can feel certain things, but
Yeah.
when these eyes came out, it was just like looking me over.
Like you're,
what the heck is this human doing here?
yeah, like you're in a cage at the zoo and they're looking at you.
Well, it was kind of unnerving in a way, but I thought, okay, I guess this is part of what I signed up for. This is early on in our relationship. I thought,
Oh my God.
whatever. I didn't.
So there must have been something in you that obviously that was okay with that, that accepted that. So,
well, yeah,
you know,
because before I met Franco, I mean, I was on my own little journey, and I'd had some experiences where I felt I was with beings in certain situations, and that they came to visit me a lot in 2010, which was the year before I met Franco. And my mom and I used to do energy work on each other, and we would meditate together and stuff. And I felt a presence, another presence sometimes. I felt presence where I was lying in my room, even though I was sleeping, I was still aware and awake in another way, because I would feel something coming into my room and walking up to me and staring at me. It would freak me out, and I would just stay still and not do anything. And then and I would feel like around my bed, like on the bed, it would be like something was on my bed, and I would look up and there'd be nothing there, and I thought, well, that's weird. And then I had time when it was just like my mom was doing energy work on me, and there were beings. I saw these beings around me. So it's not like, it wasn't like I'd never thought of it. And my parents were pretty open, and my dad was always talking about aliens, and then we weren't the only ones here and all that jazz. So I got lots of pre-information, and so I was exploring all that anyways. And so I guess I was open for sure to whatever. It's like I don't know if there was too much that really surprised me when it came to Franco and what he would tell me, and I thought, okay, well, okay, I guess that could happen.
I was one of the architects of this quadrant of the multiverse,
Yeah.
of the solar system and universe. Oh, okay. So, but I mean, it's extraordinary. Like, asking for, or declaring to the universe, well, if you're going to bring one, he better be ready to take all this heart. And then it's almost like Franco and his crew were stalking you before.
It could be. You said that before,
you
and I thought, you know what? I never looked at it that way before, but then I thought, oh, maybe that's possible. Maybe that is what was going on. And now that you say that, that time not that long ago that I said I thought there's something came in my room here and walked around. It was the same kind of feeling that I had in 2010 when that happened. Was the same kind of like, I don't know, there was an energy, there was a feeling about it, was the same as then, that came into my room, and I could feel them on my bed. Like, it was not a soft touch, because I thought it was a cat on my bed. And before I thought it was a cat on my bed, because I had a cat back then, and my sister has a cat. So, and it wasn't, but so who knows? Like, I think more dots are going to start coming together. I feel that is happening too. More awareness, and it's opening up where we're connecting the dots of previous experiences or dreams or whatever, and they're coming in, and we're getting our bigger picture more and more. It's coming together for us to see, and we're coming into our gifts and our abilities more in a way that is online with who we truly are. Plus, we're not just going to take any shit anymore either. But you get to this part, there's no going back, man.
Yeah, not on this side, or not from those on this side, not from those on the other side, technically speaking. And that goes for Franco as well, and his crew.
Yeah.
I've run into his crew. The night you called me when he transitioned, and that blue light appeared, and then I hung up with you, and then they stuck something on my head. And the thing I want to ask him is, they stuck that thing on my head, and then he said he like got it all started, and then he left. So all these beings, and they weren't like soft on the bed, they were like jumping up and down. No, but yeah, that was, gosh, it's just such a multi-synthesis of galactic, like he had a strong galactic presence, and you have that angelic soul, archangelic soul. Like, what a combination.
I don't look at it that way though.
Yeah.
I know that's I nicely say this to Franco. He said, yeah, you have an archangel. So I said, no, I don't know if I believe that.
I got a mind of my own, buddy, right to the last day, right?
But you know what? I've always resisted labels and identifying with that kind of thing, because because the ego mind would like to run away with certain things, and I just don't want to be in that space either. So it's like, I have a big loving heart for sure, and I'm sure that is what he saw. It's and that archangel is a love. I relate it to a loving energy frequency, and so I can see how he would see that, because he did know.
You expanded his heart. Like, no, I'm serious. And I was really just pointing to whatever the names are, it doesn't matter, but like feminine, masculine, but like, it was the newest version, or what, I don't know what you want to call it, polarities, but the same heart, and like at the human level. Like he was so into the, all that, the nuts and the bolts, and
Yes.
how it all works, but to actually feel that,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
every time when we were in the condo, and it's not a big condo, Ashley's condo, and you guys would walk by each other, you would touch each other, hug each other, say, huh, sweetie, I mean, every time it was like
Yeah,
the
it was
most,
sickening.
huh? It was like
It
the
was
most,
sickening.
and I know y'all went into the room a lot, closed the door. I don't know what you were doing then.
Making me blush, Todd.
I'm sorry, I didn't know y'all were like rabbits.
Uh,
Uh, no, but yeah, that's just it made an impression upon me. I think that, to be honest with you, remember I left in a rush,
mhm.
and I think that's what it was.
Really?
Yeah, I should just stop there.
Okay.
But yeah, that was like, wow, love is chill, you know?
It is. This is my take on from Franco. Love doesn't have to be difficult. We had our challenges, sure. I mean, I have my programs and he had his. So of course we're gonna have some things, but we always talked it out every single time. I mean, my usual route, if I got upset or something was bothering me, I would go to my room, I would tune in, because we were both really good about taking responsibility for our feelings and what was coming up. So I would go in and I would not talk to him. I would go in and
What?
I would be by myself and
Yeah.
and write it out, or try and see what was coming up and what programs were coming up. So Franco made that easy, and I guess I made it easy too for him, because neither of us, there was just such that genuine unconditional love there for each other, that it made it easy to operate that way with each other. Like, the level of comfort we had with each other was beyond anything I'd ever experienced before. And so moving through things, so sometimes this is, you know, I get I get upset sometimes because I think, oh, I wish I still had that. Like, I can't even imagine finding that in another person. So I feel like I kind of gypped in time because it was so beautiful. And but there was so much other stuff going on in the background at the same time. So we were both going through a lot. Like, it changed us both. And who knows how it changed him in a way. So now that when he did leave the planet, left the physicality, that it created an operating place for him, or I don't know what's the words I'm looking for, that he needed what he got on the human experience to do what he's doing now off planet,
Yeah.
out of his body. And for me, it was the opposite, so I can operate differently on the planet and come out of my shell, because I was always a shy person that really didn't say heck of a lot until, it changed over the years, because I was in social services, so I worked with people a lot in my life. And you have to have a voice when you're, but I always knew that I had to check in with me and do what I needed to do to understand who I was and my own divinity, so that I could be of more help to other people. Because if you got
Mm.
much going on, it's harder, because you don't see people the same when you got a lot of programs, in the way.
Mm.
So yeah, we definitely complemented one another, and it feels like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing now, and we're not separated. But I don't know. We'll see it happens. It's a lot of wait and see what happens.
Are you always like this?
Like what?
Lately, I mean, balanced, lucid.
No, no, I'm just like everybody else. I lose my shit all the time because I get triggered, and but for good reason. I now have to look at it like I'm not a failure. Like I said, it's been a really dramatic year for me the last 2 years. So especially this last year, it's been about me letting go of my own insecurities and my programs, because I don't want them. I don't want them, and I think, why are they sticking around? And so no, I get triggered just like everybody else. I have a big cry, and then I usually journal about it, and or I go into the woods and hang out there, because like when I go in there, it's just like calm. That supportive energy is there all around you, and you know, it just brings perspective back, because we take things so seriously. And then I have to remind myself, what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, it's not who you are. It's just an experience you're having. It's not who you are. So keep that in mind. It's not who you are. It's just an experience for growth. You're just letting it go. And not always easy to remember. So no, Todd, I'm a pretty calm person in general. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer or anything like that. But I'm definitely a crier.
Oh, I've seen you pretty spirited.
That's true. You see me pretty crying too. One time, I know I called you. I was in my car, and I was putting the last of the stuff into the storage unit, and I thought, oh, this is it. I'm not going to make it. My friend Angela, who was with me at the time at the house, one of the last days before I moved everything out, I just melted. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm having a breakdown, and I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
But we pull through.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if people caught that or if they were even here at the beginning, but you basically went right from the frying pan to the fire because of the the period where he went into the hospital and so on, and then transition, and then you, within a couple of weeks, you're moving out.
Yeah,
You're
I had to
moving, or
move.
you're getting all of your stuff that you've accumulated for 10 years. You're having to get rid of stuff and, organize stuff and go through all this stuff. They
Yeah.
say, like, for instance, when there's a transition, I mean, it happened to me like 12 years ago. And they would tell you, don't look at pictures. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So that, like, you were actually going through everything to the nth degree. That must have been brutal. I mean, I remember some of it, and I remember, the way, your energy, but I mean, in that place where there is nobody else, it must have been really intense.
It was intense. It was intense because I was putting away Franco. And like I said earlier, I had to pack all of our stuff up and put it in a storage unit. And I haven't been able to unpack it since, because I don't have the space. I'm living at my sister's I have a bedroom. That's the only space I have of my own. But there was another part of me that was going, okay, this is hard. This is like, fuck. Oh,
That's okay. You're on Sology. Thank God the women dropped the F-bombs. I've been trying not to.
And it was like, oh my goodness. But then there was that part of me going, okay, well, this happened for a reason. So I guess it's better just to do this all now and get it out of the way. I guess you asked for this. I guess you wanted to have, like, not ask for it, but that this experience is going to be good for you, because I could see the value on one end, that I was getting everything packed up and put away, which gave me time, because I needed the time just to be with me and do what I needed to do. So, everything happens for a reason. I feel like I was just pushed into the deep end by my own self. going, okay, now see if you can swim. See if you can do this. You can do it. I know you are. I wouldn't have pushed you in. So, yeah. And so far, I haven't drowned.
You won't.
No, I don't expect I will. By
Well, a
point.
lot of what you've talked about that you've gone through in the last 2 years, I would say to greater extremes for the most part, not to make comparisons, but so much of it, so many people can relate to this displacement,
Mhm.
endings, uncertainty, guidance getting louder and clearer, purges, hissy fits, all that
Absolutely.
stuff. But like you were saying at the very beginning, when you kind of just started everything, you can see everything. You can see what's happening. You know something huge is happening. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I know to some degree what I'm doing 2-3 months in advance, and really, I guess in a longer term way, but I also know there's like this whole openness that things are subject to change. But so many people I've talked to, there's a couple of things that are coming through for the last while, and that is a sense of community, taking on more of a physical, not to leave out virtual or someplace like Sology Network, but that, and not having great clarity as to where they're going, but not really trying to figure it out, but just kind of things are kind of organically unfolding. And I know that like you shared with me, like what you see yourself doing in the long term, and like, and I think you're starting to get into some of it now. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Well, I just brushed off got my website up to do sessions, and I thought long and hard about that, and then my other aspect of me that is the doubter comes in. Oh, doing that for you, like, and I don't know if you can help anybody really. Look at you, you're a mess sometimes.
Yes. Wait a minute. I just want to know something. That
What?
particular aspect of you that you call the doubter, were they like from New York City, like in the 20s or the 30s?
I don't
They
know.
talk like Alice Cramden on the Hunger Games.
So, but I put it out there anyway, because I know it's just a program. It's a program. I've had lots of life experiences, and I just truly love people, and I do love helping people. And so I did that, but I also did the other part I did on my website was I'm asking for in exchange for sessions is contribution, like a donation based on a heartfelt exchange, because I want to do it from heartfelt. And I would like to have the exchange to be heart-based commerce,
Yeah.
so maybe we could start doing stuff like that more, where we're trusting each other
Yeah.
to that way of exchanging, because
Yeah.
it feels right. It's like when Franco and I were doing workshops and stuff, we shifted it to a donation based as opposed to a hard price, because it felt like you don't want anybody to be excluded that wants to be there. And it always worked out. Some people donated more, and others donated
Yeah.
less. People that couldn't maybe have normally could have come can now come, and those who have more to offer can help other people. So it was a really good exchange, in my opinion. It was a nice way to operate. So I would like to continue to operate somewhat in that way. I'd also like to have a center at some point. That's my grand plan, is to have a place, a beautiful place where people can just come and connect with nature, because we also need to be looking at our connection to Earth. because we are part of it, and we have been so far removed from that connection that we need to come back to it, because I tell you, it's very supportive. And I mean, nature is always giving, and we are always receiving from nature. So I would love to have a center that incorporated, that kind of Mother Earth technology and technology within us, and just a place where you can go and be yourself and do fun things that bring out your joy and your passions, and because that's your creator essence, that's your soul coming through, having fun in the human experience. That's what it's all about. We don't do enough of that fun. You could feel it when you say it that way. You can feel the passion and the joy, how that just brings up the beauty of who you are and the truth of who we are, which is pure love. And so it's bringing pure love into play in human form. So that's what I would ultimately like to have down the road, just a space.
It's properly seated.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting this image you were saying, like, do what you want to do, what makes you happy. I had this image of like coming to your retreat and like doing like bossa nova dancing.
Sure.
Or tango.
Yeah.
So you're brushing up your website. Is it up?
Yeah, it's up now.
Yeah. What is the URL?
It's just kimberlyross.ca.
.ca. kimberlyross.ca.
It's pretty basic. I like writing things, so I have a blog on there. I've written a bunch of things a while back there on conscious parenting that CE back in the day, Collective Evolution, had asked me if I'd wanted to do a few articles. So they're there from a while back. But when I'm inspired, I do like to just write. I like to express myself that way. It feels nice. And so that's on there. I'd like to do some more. So we'll see.
And you have this group that y'all have had that's continued. What's the name of that group?
Let's Talk About You.
Let's Talk About You. So this was actually from the community that y'all had, and then you had a specific, I think it's every twice a month, where it's entitled Let's Talk About You. What's that like?
So that's cool. So Franco and I started back in November 2018. And then when we were doing it together like that, it was a lot of Q&A for Franco. But it was good. And then when Franco left the earth in physical, I thought, okay, I would like to keep that going. But so I did. I kept it going, took a while, and I was an anxious mess about that too. It was like that was a big deal for me, because I thought, oh shit, I'm not Franco. People can't ask me questions, and I'm just gonna all this information out. So I'm gonna have to shift this up a bit so that it's more on an equal playing field, because I didn't want to be like a leader of anything, or I just wanted to hold a space for people to come and still talk about what's going on in their lives, and sharing, because everybody has so much wisdom. We've all had so many amazing, great experiences that we've learned from, and I always find this quite fascinating. I have that Let's Talk About You group, but I also have some ladies that I chat with on a regular basis, and I'm always amazed at how synchronistic the conversations are with, because one group, the ladies that I speak to, we might not meet for a month or two, and then we meet and chat, and we're all going through similar things. We're relating. We can relate to everything each other is going through, and it's like, it's such a beautiful, supportive energy to be in. And the same with the Let's Talk About You calls. The people come in, so we've changed the format to if you're going to come and join the call, you got to be prepared to share, because it's about all of us sharing. It's not one person. We all have good information to share. So, I mean, sometimes I'll pick a topic and throw that in there and we'll chat about it, or we'll just check in and see what is going on in everybody's life. And then we'll chat about that or whatever. It's pretty open. There's no set formula. It's just that it's a nice platform for sharing, because there's so much going on right now, and people, I think, like you were saying, they need the community, they need the support, and they need to be with like-minded people that can understand what they're going through and can share and offer wisdom and support. So that's what the Let's Talk About You is. It used to be a membership program, which I again changed that to a donation base. So if someone wants to join up, they would just have to email me and let me know. I mean, there is some rules around joining that group, which is no drama, no unloading, that kind of thing. It's just about helping
No
each
acting
other.
the fool.
Yeah. Yeah. No
I ain't got time for that.
monopolize another time. Yeah.
Somebody asked, they said they couldn't find it. So let me just show you real quick. Because I wanted to double check.
Couldn't
Kimberly
find.
Raw.
Yep,
You
that's
might be
me.
you might be spelling Kimberly wrong. So it's
Yeah, it's just LY. Some people
Yeah.
put an E in there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what it is, Denise. There you go.
Thanks, Todd.
I think this thing about the contribution of your choice is ultimately where we go. That's how we started. And then given the size of the proposition of leaving social media as guided, there was just no way. But I can see that it's quickly going to come back to this, and I believe the world as a whole will. And it's the exact same thing, because I did for many times gatherings and stuff, but I feel like there is a transition happening. And just as an example, when I went to Sedona, it cost about $450 to do the 2 shows, and we probably brought in like 150 or 200. But I knew something was happening because it was in the space, and it wasn't just me, of trusting. Like, even if it doesn't come in the way you think it's going to come in, something comes in from somewhere else, right? And so I really feel like that's important to just kind of restate. And I believe you're right. Like what you two experienced, what I experienced in the past, Sology. Sometimes, it's, I always say that the number one contributor we had at Sology in the old format was a lady. I don't know if I ever mentioned her name. I probably should, unless I had her permission, but she would always send like $7.77, $5.55. She probably sent, I don't even know how many hundreds over the years. You know what I mean? It's the energy. So heart exchange or soul exchange or whatever you want to call it. I feel like that's coming, and that's on us to do it. It's on us to do it, like embody it. And it's kind of like we're working, we're synthesizing all of our journeys and even deprogramming and all that, and kind of like winding it all together by walking that direction. I mean, it just, as a metaphor, applies to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's part of
Trust.
Part of where we're going. Trust is a huge thing. I'm had to really embody that part, embody trust.
Right?
I'm still working on it. I mean, I think it's hard for us because we have been so conditioned to operate a certain way in this world, this old world. And so just pulling out and really trusting in our own abilities, and that's the true abilities of who we are. I guess to the degree you trust, you see results too.
Right. Yeah. It's like we were talking about yesterday. It's like being in that analogy of that river. People say, "Oh, life is a river," and you're clinging onto the edge. Well, like, yeah, I am, MF. You better believe it. But jumping into that river, it's not like surrender. It is like this mutual collaboration. So, you know, I think we're coming into this awareness where we understand that I love this word lately, the mundane human, right?
Mhm.
That it takes the mundane human to trust and knowing that we are creating through our thoughts. So a responsible, conscious co-creator to operate without prejudice or bias has to trust themselves, and that's wild to think of to think of the simple, profound truth of that, and then to feel and to understand that we're actually swimming in those waters now. We're actually walking this. We're actually, at a minimum, being afforded the opportunity to walk the talk.
I
Under
think we have no choice now. I think we have to walk the talk because we've come to that point in our evolution that it's necessary.
yeah, yeah. There's no choice in the matter. You're right. I mean, it's inevitable.
Mhm.
And I say let go and be dragged. It's in proverb all the time. But you know what? I've been dragged even in the last week.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got strawberries on my ass. But but yeah, you're right. And it's not like, oh, the world's going to end, or oh, we're going to, I don't feel that. I just feel like, you know what? It's time.
Mhm.
It's time. Period. And today feels really cool too, because it's 10-10, like a double new beginning. And 11, which is always good.
Mhm. Good times ahead for sure.
Well, we have some, and I haven't talked to you since last week, but we had a meeting Sunday with the IT people. You know them. Oh my God, Kimberly, it's like telepathic. Now, it happened once about 2 months ago,
Mhm.
and it happened again Sunday. And I told them, this is telepathic. Like, it was crazy. The
Mhm.
things that are coming on board, and we hadn't even talked about. It's all just been under. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but having said that, I did talk to him specifically about y'all's work and what we had talked about before, and so we're really close to supporting you, because what's basically going to happen is, uh, per your direction and whatever you decide to do with what the two of you have created. And speaking of heart exchange, I always had this idea that the work y'all created would be a template in the Sology marketplace, which is a store. It's just our name for it, which is also just another part of the platform with the same objective, which is to create a space for people to gain awareness of our brother or sister, both, whatever the case is. And so with this um, expanded technology, to be able to feed in that 250 hours into the app, so to speak, and create like 1,500, 2,000 excerpts that could then be put into the marketplace for an exchange of, 1 or 10 or 100 or whatever the case is, that would be categorized and easily identifiable. So I'm really excited about that for a lot of reasons, because I always believe there's multiple meanings and multiple purposes. And I know, and I've known all along, my human would get ahead of myself and think everything was going to happen tomorrow. But I've known from the moment Sology came into contact with y'all that everything that's happening, everything that I was thinking was going to happen then is happening now, and it's almost like I don't know how to explain it. Legacy is not the right word. It's a physical imprint of what's already been done.
Mhm.
And so I'm excited to be reaching this point, and that you and him will be part of it. Because I always said, y'all are Sology. It was a huge, huge period for 3 years. It was huge. And the Sology Fest in Sedona was incredible. And the best part of it was my throat chakra. He doesn't want me to say it. No, the best part was the day after we went to the restaurant, to the chocolate tree, and I was up rapping. We were rapping, and Franco got the microphone to do his final piece, and he started doing it. He started speaking in rhyme. It was so cool, man. It was so cool.
He had such a good time there. I'm really so glad that he was able to go there. We were able to go there, and he was able to meet you in person, and I was, and because it really lit him. He loved that. He loves that kind of really lit him up, and he was just like, I wish we could have stayed longer. Anyways, it was a good experience for sure. Meeting everybody, it was nice. Yeah, so nice.
Well, come hell or high water, I'm going to send you a ticket to the one in Houston in December. Are you doing anything? The weather will be a lot warmer down here than it is up there.
Okay, well,
If that's not
time.
motivation, hopefully you don't need that much motivation. But
No, I don't
you
really.
guys get some cold weather. I wouldn't. I
We
don't
do
know.
get some nasty cold weather, but it's
Questions.
we're Canada, so it's expected.
Hmm.
But yeah.
So, um, I can't look at you. Yeah.
Thank you, Todd. Thank
What
you
a
for being you and doing all that you do. You really helped me a great deal, honestly. I
well.
really
You
appreciate
helped me. Believe me. It's just like what?
you.
Like what has happened? Like what just happened? I mean, that's what it feels like to me. I'm talking about from day one. I'm talking about from the first show, because I met him
Hmm.
first. And then, like, I think it was within 2 or 3 weeks I met you. But there was just like, part of me feels like it wasn't something that was planned, that our free will choice or something like, and I'm talking about not just me and him, I'm talking about everyone that was involved. And then other times I think we plan this shit. Like, you know what? Like, hey, this is what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying, all those parts all coming together, they're like all intermingling and finding where they need to go to do the best that they can do, and the environment that supports that, which is communities, and we're just all like, it's time. We're all buzzing around, getting to where we need to be, that supports us and supports the collective in the biggest and best possible way. Can't always put words to that, but you can feel it. I think language is not always effective way of describing things. It just doesn't always
No, doesn't work.
no, doesn't always work.
uh I just feel something big, like in my, like if I just stop and quit effing around, I can feel it. It's and I know it's not just me. I know it's all of us.
Mhm.
I know it's him and you and everybody else, like the whole wide world or something. I don't know. I can feel it, like a just, it's very, very deep. It's very deep. It's amazing how the personal experiences follow in the collective, experience. It's like you feel yourself more and you can feel the world more or something. I don't know.
Mhm. When you're
The
with
energy.
people
Yeah.
that holds the space for you, like you and I talking, or you and your any group, um, it allows that to come in more. You feel it even more. This is what I like about the Let's Talk About You calls too, because I'm always leave there inspired by everybody. And because we're holding such a nice space now, because the energies have shifted it to such a degree that's we're being supported in so many different ways that we can't even always see, but we are feeling it on many levels. And like I said, there's no words, but if you just tune into the feeling of it, it's huge. Like you're saying, it's very big, and it's just getting bigger.
Yeah, like as in this moment.
Hmm.
I don't know if I want to cry or die.
Well, don't die.
I'm not gonna die. Are you kidding me? I tried that already like 25 times. They showed me.
Okay, well, then I guess you're done with that experience.
Yes. Yes. No, I can see it. Oh my
think if
God. I've had hmm?
I think if we all just sat for a minute here and tuned into it, we'd all feel it.
Yeah. Oh my God, what the hell was that? Your light just flashed.
No, did it? I didn't notice.
Hmm.
Much going on in the silence, isn't there?
Oh my God. Yeah. I didn't know if I was, I don't, this is weird. Like, I don't know. Like, um, like, was I going to channel him? And like, he's talking to me. And somebody else said it too. Like, they could feel his love for you.
Mm, they feel it too.
He won't shut it.
Well, do share, Todd. Don't hold it in.
Well, he just gone and on and on. Tell her, um, um, there's a line in that song where it says she's like, it's about y'all, that she sees you. Like, it's only like one line in the whole thing, right? And it's like, that's what he's saying. Well, he's saying that, and that's the only way I can describe it.
Mhm, mhm.
And he also saying, like, you know, and it's so funny because it's the way he would do the video, the lives, right? Like instructing, like uh everything's all right, like it's all happening. It's he's not saying I told you so. He's just saying he's doing it, and it's like in that voice that you had earlier, where it's the feminine and the masculine. With that whatever the fuck it is. uh God, Kimberly, you're a huge soul. I've never seen your soul like this. This is like the greatest share in Sology history. And that's why, because you carry it and you can laugh about, you know what I mean? Not in a, well, like the way you talk to him. Well, I don't know about that. That's the way I talk to the universe. You know, Franco and I had those discussions.
I think there's just so much love here anyways on the call. It feels very powerful.
Yeah. I can't read that thing. Maybe I could, but well, yeah, okay. Because he's not going to be quiet here. Because now he's
Okay.
coming about this other line, but rather than tell you about the other line, I just do it because it's at the end of it.
Okay.
You know? Okay, so what am I doing here? All right. Let me just make sure everything is okay. This is one of the, he's right here, right on the masculine side. And you're, I don't know, it's weird. Yeah, so this, like this thing that we wrote, I guess, is it's not like a sad thing, right? It's not about that. It's about like this whole perspective, and it's making sense to me more now. And I wrote it 2 years ago. Here, I'll put it on now.
Are you gonna read it, Todd?
Yeah, I'll read it. I'm gonna read it. I'll try to get through it. Yeah, because he won't be quiet. So you know, I'm not gonna argue with him.
No sense.
No sense. Little. We have Kimberly and I have a little name for Franco, but we can't share it with anybody. They might not get it. We'll use Ty's music here. I'm just gonna try to speak it. Okay, you know, you just have to do what you have to do, right? I have no idea, Kimberly, what's going on here, but somehow or another. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that I'm channeling, all right? I don't even know what that word means. I just know that something really strange is happening. Yeah, I better do this. It's so funny because of what Kimberly shared with us about Franco, and the name of it's Unveiled. Okay. Can you hear that music?
I can.
Okay. Okay. I'm not asking how no more. There's no need to talk about it. I know the truth's been outed, and we don't have to try so hard. I finally found the flow. Does it move so slow? Zero point in sins and surrendered to the lies. I got no choice, you know. Have to let it go. Have to die again if a seed's to grow. I don't need to know I don't need to know the whys, my friend. I don't have to lie no more. Look how far down we'd gone when our hearts ran cold. Walls built over doors. Look how far we come. Don't have to die no more. Deaths are not a chore. It's so good to be alive. This part. Man, she makes me shine. Blows my mind, you know. Every breath's the high. 'Cause love don't have to try. It feels so fine, you know I'm in. I guess you know it's time to live. We're the genies and the gins. You know it's time to give. I found the fallen angels making friends with strangers. I think I might just die again so I can resurrect. I swear I'll do my best. Endless chances will I get? It's my only bet. Living dreams without regrets. Oh, come on, get it off our chest. We can't fix this mess. Love till nothing's left. See what glory is. I see what glorious ain't so serious. She knows you do your best. Life is not a test. The child never left. It's still inside of us, can't you see? Winning don't exist. Everybody shifts. I hope you get my drift. And now the world is on a string, and we are tied to the sacred wedding ring. Even silent angels sing, you are the only thing. You and I are everything. You are everything, the one and only thing. Winning's nothing, nothing's everything. Why do we find ourselves in this presence? Why do we always come back? Always see you at the end. We come to grow love's house and wise. We will not compromise on love. It's why we'll always do it again. That's why we'll always do it again. Oh my God. Anyway. Talk about an out-of-body experience.
Oh, thank you, Todd.
Oh, that was not me.
Thank you.
I have no idea what's going on here at all. I was like flipping back Todd to something else. I have no idea. I'm not saying I'm channeling. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I don't know what the hell happened. I have no idea. But I don't even know what it sounds like. I don't even care. It was just like this energy just poured through me. It was like this. Whatever we're all doing is amazing, and we just do
Keep
what
on
you
doing
did. Just do what you did. Just step through the fear and just rip open your heart and be transparent. Like, wow, Kimberly. I hope that well, I don't hope. Hope's a dumb word. But Yeah, I mean, I feel like we were talking like we always talk.
I
I
know.
forgot and stuff like, what's going on here? God, that was just, I wish I could explain what happened. I just don't even know how to say it. I don't even know what to do. Just jump in there, both feet.
It's probably just all that beautiful love that's all around. It's just
Well,
coming on through, and it's huge. It's like it's big.
yeah. Yeah, he has been around a lot too, y'all. I'm how can one be without the other? It's like, everywhere I turn, somebody's saying, hey, when we were in Sedona on the 30th, that last night, people were saying it. Well, I can't see well, I just know that whatever comes into your life is going to be as good or better than it was the day before. Like you're like and I know a little bit more because we talk, and I know a little more details but God, you just, witnessing and watching the energy of you're sharing, like that's that has a huge effect. It did on me and everybody else, I'm sure. I can't even okay.
I mean, I feel the same way about you.
Well,
You share
you know,
things with me, and I think, oh, I get inspired. And I mean, I guess that's what it's all about with all of us. We share as we share with each other, we get something that we need. And it's just always giving, giving and receiving. And it's a beautiful thing.
there's some big stuff going on here. Big code being emitted because of, I mean, I've got something to do with it because I'm, but it's not me. It's you, y'all, whatever. I don't know how to explain it. He's funny. It's funny. He's real funny. I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit. Well, I'm gonna have to go integrate.
Okay.
I don't think I have to do anything functionally for like 4 hours. I think I'll be down for like 3 hours and 45 minutes. Are you good?
I'm great. I
Yeah.
so enjoyed this. It was so nice to have this chat. And it- you know, it's taking that first step that's so scary. And you made it easy for me. Thank you very much. And everybody who's on the call, thank you so much for holding the space. And I just want to again say thank you to everybody who's helped me in the last couple of years, my family, my friends, my community. So grateful for everybody. Just love you all.
I don't know about everybody else, but the only one holding space around here is you. I think you're holding space for everybody. And
I
you're
don't
like,
know.
you made it so easy. I'm like falling apart, and you're just like so calm and cool. Like, I don't know. I can feel it's like something like, almost like you led us through something and brought this equilibrium. Like only because only you could do it. Something like that. And convey it to everybody. Maybe even between the words, between the lines. Well, I'll be seeing you soon. I'll be talking.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
you're okay.
Oh, I'm good. I'm just a bit shocked, but I'm not surprised, but my human's like, wow, like it makes sense. That's why at the beginning I kept feeling like I was going to throw up. Like it was the energy. And then, I
Mhm.
don't know if everyone that knew, but that we got knocked off and then something else went wrong. And it's like 4 different things, 5 different things. We couldn't start for 10 minutes. We didn't start till 1:10 on 10:10 my time.
Mhm.
I love you, Kimberly.
Love
You
you
know that.
too, Todd. Yep.
I'll see you soon on Zoom, and I'll see you in December 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okie dokie. Sounds good. Thank you, Todd. Love
Thank
you.
you. Love
Bye.
you too. Bye-bye.